Imagine waking up inside a cold, windowless concrete cell, staring down into a terrifying, pitch-black abyss in the center of the floor. Every single day, a massive platform slowly descends from the ceiling, carrying a lavish, world-class feast that rests briefly on your level before continuing its downward plunge. If you wake up on level 1, you eat like royalty. But if you wake up on level 150, you are left fighting over licked bones and shattered glass. In this system, known as the pit, all resources originate at level 0 and flow strictly downward, allowing the upper-level prisoners to consume without any restrictions. Every month, a knockout gas is deployed, and every prisoner is relocated to an entirely random, unpredictable tier, stripping away any sense of security or status. The true horror of this architecture isn't just the threat of starvation, it is the absolute, systemic loss of control over one's own survival. This setup raises a specific logical question. If every person only consumed their daily caloric requirement, would the platform actually reach the bottom? The math reveals a chilling truth. The system is perfectly calibrated, with exactly enough food loaded at the top to keep every single prisoner alive. Human fear breaks the calibration. The top levels gorge themselves not because they are hungry today, but because they are terrified of being at the bottom next month. This panic creates a vacuum of empathy. The moment a starving victim is promoted to a higher level, they instantly become the greedy abuser they once despised. The system guarantees starvation because it weaponizes our own survival instincts against the very idea of human solidarity. Goring enters the prison voluntarily, bringing a book and expecting an intellectual retreat. He believes that logic and culture can survive in any environment. That idealism is met with the cynical reality of his cellmate. Goring watches in shock as those above them consume everything, leaving only filth for those below. He witnesses the absolute failure of the trickle-down economic logic. The upper levels don't just eat, they maliciously destroy all the leftovers, ensuring the people below remain completely desperate. Goring tries to politely reason with the lower levels to ration their intake, only to discover that moral appeals are ignored by people in the throes of starvation. He reaches a definitive realization. In a corrupted hierarchy, asking nicely for fairness is a futile gesture that the system is designed to ignore. An intellectual appeal to morality is entirely powerless against a population trapped in existential panic and systemic neglect. Goring decides to arm himself and physically ride the platform downward, stepping into the abyss to force the system to change. To enforce equal rationing, he must beat and terrorize the middle-level prisoners. He is forced to use violence to protect the food from the desperate. As he descends, the desperation intensifies. He travels through starving tiers where the fight for resources has stripped away every last shred of human dignity. The irony is tragic. To save lives and mandate equality, the peaceful idealist had to become a brutal oppressor, entirely losing himself to the violence of the pit. Inside an inherently corrupted hierarchy, peace cannot be negotiated. Fairness must be aggressively enforced at the cost of one's own innocence. Goring reaches the lowest depths of the prison, a lightless void where the administration's logic and the prisoner's sanity both reach their breaking point. He realizes that rationing food is a temporary fix. To break the cycle, he must send a message to the elites at level 0 that solidarity is still possible. At the very bottom, he finds a hidden child, a symbol of purity that should not exist in a place built on consumption and greed. Goring makes his final sacrifice, stepping off the platform into permanent darkness so the child can ascend to the top as a living message. Disrupting a rigged system requires more than just participation. It demands a willingness to make the ultimate personal sacrifice to prove the system's failure. The platform maps directly to our modern economy, where distance between tiers creates a disconnect from consequence. The gas reflects middle-class volatility. Fear of falling drives hoarding that starves the tiers below. This proves solidarity is impossible when the system is engineered to reward greed. Systemic inequality is a top-down disease, and only when absolute societal equality is achieved can the suffering within the pyramid finally end? Ending the tragedy requires us to look past our own level and recognize the structure itself is the enemy. Subscribe for more deep movie explanations.